7 to 1 with Ryan Mulvey.
I love it.
Covering the biggest stories, breaking news, the latest trades, and taking your calls. The Inside Drive is live and local middays from the Gulf Plus Studios.
Happy anniversary.
That kid was on roids.
On ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning. This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida. For this afternoon and evening, mostly sunny and a high of 82 with wind 8 to 12 miles per hour out of the south-southwest. Partly cloudy skies tonight, a light breeze and warm near 74. Partly sunny and 84 tomorrow. 84 and some sun and very light rain with a gentle breeze Wednesday. Thursday, some sun and a temperature about the same at 87. This is your Monday's weather brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Big Memorial Day mattress sale going on now at the Sleep Center. Stop by the Sleep Center and you can save up to $800 on select Stearns & Foster adjustable mattress sets. Stearns & Foster, made in the USA and available at
Sleep Center, where it's bedtime all day long.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
Dreaming of sun-drenched beaches and a place to call your own in Northwest Florida? Or perhaps you're looking for the perfect investment opportunity. Since 1962, Anchor Realty Florida has been the trusted name in real estate across the Panhandle. Anchor Realty Florida brings unparalleled local expertise to your search for homes, lots, and investment properties. Don't just dream it, live it. Let Anchor Realty Florida anchor your reality. Visit us online at anchorfl.com. That's anchorfl.com.
Now, for a limited time, Krispy Kreme Donuts is offering the Krispy Kreme Pac-Man Collection. Featuring 3 new donuts and a custom Pac-Man game dozen box. Enjoy the Pac-Man Party Donuts, the Team Ghost Donut, and the Strawberry Power Berry Donut. Only at Krispy Kreme Donuts in front of HCA Hospital, 23rd Street, Panama City, and on the Ross Clark Circle in Dothan. Krispy Kreme Donuts since 1937. Krispy Kreme Donuts, where you get them hot.
Signworks, a business serving businesses since 1985. Everything from signs and banners, vehicles and boats, magnetic and real estate signs, contractor signs, and much more. Signworks can do large format, full color printing too. Signworks, a real professional in the business world. Call Signworks at 785-8899. Signworks, 850-785-8899.
MLB is incoming, and you won't miss a game. Introducing Scorpion TV. Over 5,000 live streaming channels. Catch every game of the season with over 100 sports networks, including ESPN, ESPN+, the NFL Network, and Red Zone. Even pay-per-view events. Watch 400 local network channels from Panama City and most major markets. Fox, ABC, CBS, and NBC. Just $45 a month with our promo code ESPNNW. Go to ESPNPC.com and click the Scorpion TV logo.
Big Memorial Day mattress sale going on now at the Sleep Center. Stop by the Sleep Center and you can save up to $800 on select Stearns & Foster adjustable mattress sets. Stearns & Foster, made in the USA and available at
Sleep Center, where it's bedtime all day long.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota, ESPN Northwest Florida. Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus Studios, it's the Inside Drive. It's the next evolution of sports talk radio. The biggest stories and the biggest reactions.
Now.
And now, we're taking...
With the first pick.
This is the last ball you got in the bag.
The Inside Drive. From college to the pros, interviews with the newsmakers, sports betting, your phone calls, and more. And now, The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And good Monday morning. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. 104.3 here in Panama City Beach and Panama City and all the beautiful Bay County surrounding areas. 101.9 down there in Port St. Joe along that beautiful Forgotten Coast. Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. All you got to do is search it up, ESPN Northwest Florida. You can like, comment, subscribe, share, follow, all those wonderful things that we appreciate you doing, because without y'all, we would not be hanging out here in studio. Got a new jet, not new, but he's new to the Inside Drive when I'm here. You've been here before when I have not been here. So, Paul, glad to have you with me today, and I think all Mondays going forward, right?
Oh, yeah. Yep, we're going to be here with you on Mondays, so glad to be here with you.
Absolutely. Glad to have another sports mind in the studio with us. Of course, DJ Davey Crockett behind the glass. David, how are you doing on this fine but warm Monday?
Doing well. How about yourself, brother?
Doing fantastic. Got a lot to dive into today. It's Monday, so of course we'll have Al Carl joining us at 11:20 to talk about the NHL playoffs that are officially down to 4 teams. We'll dive into some NBA action tomorrow. Obviously, we got Doc A, Steve Alexander on Tuesdays at 11:20. So we'll push the NBA action until tomorrow. Obviously, tonight we don't have any NBA or NHL for what seems like the first time in probably 3 or 4 weeks. So maybe we'll have to watch some regular stuff tonight. Who knows? We could probably find something on there.
Sports documentaries.
There you go. That's the sports documentaries are always seeming to live in my world anyway. But of course, you can download our free mobile app inside the Google Play or Apple Store. 104.3 is all you got to search up. Lots of contests that come through that app. Lots of T-shirts we're giving away as well, but you're not going to get a T-shirt unless you have our app. Don't think there's an active one currently right now, but yeah. Download that app. Make sure you take us wherever you go. And, of course, you can always listen to ESPNPC.com. You can listen live there. But while you're there, you're tired of paying all these dollars for these high-end streaming services where you can just download Scorpion TV. And with code ESPNNW, it's only going to cost you $45 a month. Over 5,000 channels on demand, including all your NHL, pay-per-view, NFL coming up here before we know it. I mean, we're finally into almost June, and once June gets here, NFL is just right around the corner. But you don't want to be spending over $100 for your streaming services, plus paying the extra money for whatever package you want to watch when you can just sign up for Scorpion TV. Again, using code ESPNNW, just $45 a month. Paul? How you doing today?
I'm doing really good. How about you?
Doing fantastic. A team that's not doing fantastic is the team that the South Walton Seahawks were playing in the semifinals of the the 3A baseball state championships. As it is official, they've called the game in the 4th inning. South Walton wins that one 17-2.
Wow.
South Walton just continues to be this baseball powerhouse up here in the Florida Panhandle. We've been talking about it all season. Don't be surprised if South Walton makes it to the championship game, or don't be surprised if they end up winning the 3A state championship as well. So I was talking to one of our listeners. He was watching it on the NFHS TV network and was kind of keeping me up to date on anything, but just a comedy of errors for the Hernando team, dropping pop flies. They had, I think, 3 errors in 1 inning, and South Walton took advantage of it and put the drumming there on the Hernando team. So they will now advance to the state championship game, which will be tomorrow at, I'm guessing that's Eastern time, 4 p.m., so 3 p.m. here in the Central Time Zone. They will play the winner of Bishop, I guess that's Bishop Verot, or maybe Verot, it might be French. We're going to go with Verot, and Miami Springs. So the winner of that game will play the South Walton Seahawks for the 3A state championship. Pretty impressive stuff there by South Walton, who's had a great year all year long.
Well, if you look at South Walton, they're the same team that played the powerhouse IMG Academy and beat them. Mm-hmm. They beat them 7-6 early in the year.
Yep.
So, I mean, those guys really know how to play baseball. And I think they got 4, 5, or 6 Division I signees for this year, but also their juniors and sophomores are being highly recruited too. So they're really a good team, and Coach Chambers over there is doing a really good job with those guys.
Absolutely. I mean, taking them to a state championship game, and we're cheering for all the teams in our listening area. We want to bring back as many state championships as we can. We'll talk a little bit about the Arnold semifinal game coming up in our final segment today. I do want to talk about one of the bigger local golf tournaments in our area before we jump into other things, and that was the 98th playing of the Sherman Invitational. And I think I was seeing what Mike Walker was saying in an interview, the largest field that they've had that they can really remember. Obviously, this is one of the tournaments that's been going on for a long time in the Southeast. 2 years from now, they'll have their centennial version of it. So it's kind of it is a prestigious event for amateur golfers in this area. And I just want to go through some of the winners from this year's particular event. I don't know why it pulled up last year's, but Brent Edwards won last year. I'm going to go ahead and pull up this year's. I do know Noah Zedeker was the one that ended up winning the championship flight. Let me get into the right one. Apologize for that. Live scoring 2025. That's where. And what's cool too nowadays is even a tournament like this, they had live scoring throughout the tournament, so you could really see what was going on. But congratulations to very decorated collegiate golfer Noah Zedeker, who played for Mosley High School. He graduated several years ago. I think he's graduated college at this point, but had a great career. He went over to a school in the Mobile area, but then ended up going to North Georgia, a Division I school, and I think they might have won a national championship or came pretty close. Don't quote me on that, David Hayes. Don't quote me on that. Still haven't made the shirt yet, but Noah opened with a 5 under par 67, and then followed that up with a 66 in the second round, and then finished the tournament with another 66 to finish at 16 under par with a total gross score of 200. Followed by Justin Burrows, who was 9 under par, another great tournament for him as well, 69, 67, 71. Wes Jones and Chase Bly each were -4. Wes Jones shot 72, 69, 71. Chase Bly shot 66, 71, and 75. Cy Climo -3. Ben Perdue -2. Heath West, Matt Johnson, Buck Henry, and Sam Gargis were all -1. And then congratulations to the young buck, Cade Denicky, who had a great tournament himself. Only 15 years old, youngest competitor in the Sherman this year. Shot 75 in his opening round, but then followed it up with 2 nice under par rounds of 71 and 70. Wow. So great round there by Cade Denicky as well. I'm going to jump over into the open. I'll let everybody know what all the different flights were and the scores that they had. So we'll go over. Obviously, that was the championship flight. That was being played from the back tees. Anybody can sign up for that one. And then you have the open division, which is kind of if you don't want to play in the championship flight, this is the next most competitive one. And Jackson Tiano won that one at 19 over par, followed by Tyler Chismar at 22 under par, Chris Solomon at 23 over par, Jeremy Centerfeet at 27 over par, Jim Tatum 28, Paul Massey at 33, Gage Golden at 34, and the list goes on and on and on. The next division is the Super Senior Division. That was won by James Prim with a 7 over par score. Finished his final round with a 2 under par 70. Started 77, 76, and 70 for a great 3-day total there. Harry Black at +9, in addition to John Mulrain at +9. Gary Grant, Steve Anderson, both at 13 over par. Moving on to what they call the Legend Division, which is the legends of golf in our area. Naturally, I think it's a little bit older than the Super Senior Division, if I'm not mistaken. Alan Ross with a fantastic 2 over par 3-day total. He shot 76 in the first round, followed it up with a 4 under par 68 in the second round, and then finished with a 74 to finish with a 3-day total of 218 and pretty much lapped the field. Next closest was +21. So congratulations to Alan Ross as well. Congratulations to all the winners in the 98th playing of the Sherman Invitational. Paul, do you play golf?
I play at it.
I understand.
So, yeah.
That's a David Hayes quote if I've ever heard one.
It's definitely not my strongest suit, but I enjoy it, especially on those days where it's a little overcast, got a little slight breeze.
Yep.
Maybe not like the 90 degrees yesterday that we saw.
I mean, all 3 days for these guys was as hot as it's been in a long time, and pretty much as hot as it's been so far this year. All right, we had another big event that transpired this past weekend, and that was the running of the Preakness Stakes. I believe it was the 150th running of the Preakness Stakes, if I'm not mistaken. But the favorite for the Kentucky Derby went on to win this one, and I don't know if you guys had a chance to watch this race, but it was pretty intense coming around that final turn. You thought, and Allen had, the 8, the 2, and the 1 were the ones he was kind of keying on, and I believe it was the 8 horse was out in front the entire race, and then not that it kind of held him back, but he survived not getting hit. There was a big bump coming around that final final turn before they got to the backstretch. And luckily, Journalism was kind of out of the way of that and then kind of bounced out and just finished so incredibly strong. Horse just ran crazy fast to win a little bit more than a nose, but was down probably 3 or 4 lengths, maybe, I don't know, 100 yards from the finishing line there. So congratulations on a wonderful final stretch there by Journalism. And, if Journalism would have won that, ifs and buts, of course, would have won the Derby, obviously would have got that second leg of the Triple Crown as well. But we got one more coming up, and that is the Belmont Stakes. But the Pimlico Racetrack will now undergo a huge renovation, so it will not be ran there the next 2 years, kind of what they've been doing at the Belmont Stakes as well. So first place was Journalism, closed at 6-5, meaning you had to bet $5 to win 6. The overwhelming favorite. The place horse was the number 9 horse, Gosger, 15-1, and then Allen's horse, the Sandman, the 7 horse, came in the show position. Journalism would have paid $4 on the win play show, $2.80 on the place, and $2.40 on the show. If you hit the 2-9 exacta on a $2 bet, would have won you $33.80, and if you got the $1 trifecta, it would have paid you $73.50. And then the hardest one to get, which was about 300-1, was the superfecta with the 2, 9, 7, and 1 horses. But another leg of the Triple Crown has come and gone. You enjoy watching the horse racing?
Oh yeah, love the horse racing. I was a little disappointed with Sovereignty not being able to play to get in that one because it's the excitement for everybody if the Triple Crown is available. And so the thing was, and some people have been talking about it, they might ought to look into maybe spreading them out a little bit more instead of giving them such a back-to-back almost week. So
is there 3 weeks between this one and the Belmont?
The Belmont's 3 weeks, but that first one is only the 2. So that's a quick one for those horses like that.
Well, and they want to, we've been talking about this too, don't want to beat this like a dead horse. But we talk about too, they a lot of times they'll pull them out because if they don't have a good second race, that'll devalue, them going to stud and all that stuff. But if they win the second leg too, that's going to really increase the value. And I understand it's a lot of money we're talking about, and it's certainly a gamble one way or the other. But one more Triple Crown race coming up, and then the other one, the big Breeders' Cup, which happens usually, I think, in September or October. When I was up in New Jersey, my last internship at Deal Country Club, just a couple miles down from Monmouth Park there on the north end of the Jersey Shore, they held the Breeders' Cup there the last year that I was finishing up my long internship up there. As I probably told on the air many a time, I was the intern who ran the bets from the golf course to the track. Okay. So I got to go hang out basically in the afternoons on regular days and stuff like that, and just place people's bets and hang out, have a couple beverages, and then come back the next day and see who won. Because our shoe guy was in on all the horses. He knew all about it. And we had a lot of people that own horses that raced up there at Monmouth Park as well. But I could talk about that until the cows come home. But I do want to talk about, over the weekend, 49ers extended Brock Purdy. We've been kind of waiting for it. He showed up for the non-mandatory OTAs, or the OTAs. The O stands for optional. But he showed up. So you didn't think this was going to get dragged out too long. Well, it's officially not dragged out. 49ers Brock Purdy, reportedly, it's not reportedly, it's actually happened. He got a full no trade clause in that $265 million contract extension. According to the NFL Network's Mike Garofalo, Purdy's 5-year, $265 million extension includes a full no-trade clause for the duration of the deal. ESPN's Adam Scheffler reported that Purdy's new deal includes $181 million in overall guaranteed money, which is a monumental jump for the last pick in the last round of the 2022 NFL Draft, who earned a total of $2.6 million over his first 3 seasons in the league, and now is averaging an annual salary of $53 million. Purdy played 15 games in 2024 and threw for 3,864 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a career-high 12 interceptions. He had dealt with injuries to his right shoulder and elbow, hindering him from building off the stellar 2023 campaign that saw him lead the NFL with 113.0 passer rating while throwing for 31 touchdowns. The Niners went 6-11 last year in a very disappointing campaign and missed the playoffs for the first time since 2018. At the end of the year, Purdy made it clear that he wanted to remain in San Francisco and be the face of the franchise. He was quoted saying, "I want to be in San Francisco and play my football career here," Purdy said on January 6th. "I know that I'm the guy that for this organization and that I can do what it takes to help lead us where we want to go." The 25-year-old potentially got his wish with his no-trades clause ensures that he will control his destiny with the 49ers moving forward. What did you think of the contract extension for Mr. Purdy?
I thought it was well-deserved.
Thank you.
I thought it was
Somebody with
well-deserved.
some common sense on this show.
The reason why I thought it was well-deserved was because you have someone that has taken you into the playoffs and has been able to come back from injury.
Yeah.
So, and the thing is like when you surround, it's so cliche. It's always to talk about game manager quarterbacks, and I mean I'm sure he's the number one face of that. But you have to be able to know where your strengths are.
Yeah.
And so I believe those type of guys, they don't have to wow you with the 60-yard bombs, throwing the dimes in the bucket. But I believe that if you can take the game and not manage it, but get the ball to where the playmakers are.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it's all about. And that's why when you see it happen, you're like, how did they beat us? They lulled us to sleep with some of the dinks and dunks that they do underneath and that kind of stuff. But no, what they're doing is they're getting the ball to their playmakers' hands and they're allowing them to make things happen. So, I mean, he knows the system. He knows Shanahan's system. He knows what they're doing. And I think it was a great deal for all of them. I mean, you can trust him.
Yeah, I mean, we really haven't had a franchise quarterback since, dare I say it, Jeff Garcia. In the if he's a franchise quarterback, that might be a loose term.
That's pretty loose. That's pretty loose.
He was the passing.
I thought you were going to say Steve Young, and then you said Jeff Garcia. I was
Garcia.
like, okay,
That's how
right,
bad
well,
it's been.
Yeah.
That's how bad it's been.
It's been bad.
But we and
but y'all have had success with the bad quarterback.
Yeah.
So that's the issue for me is and you said the word, Paul, having the playmakers, and so. As long as he's willing to down the road renegotiate to keep, and he seems like he's that type of player. But that's the bread and butter for San Francisco is having those guys around to make Brock Purdy. Not saying that Brock Purdy's not good. Yeah. No, and I do agree with you, well deserved, right? But will it be fruitful for the San Francisco 49ers moving forward? Because a lot of the times we see these teams pay the quarterbacks, and then that's all that they can pay, and not, I mean, over and over again. So we'll see how it plays out. I mean, at this juncture, it seems to be you had to do this. Yeah. Right? Yeah. You had to do this for Brock Purdy. So we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
better than paying Will Levis too much money.
Yeah, pay him in Mayo.
It just seems like every single time that I come on the radio, we talk about Will Levis. Isn't that crazy? He's very popular. So.
It's just because we're a bunch of Titans. There is a few Titans fans.
Yeah,
so if you're on with me and James at the same time, that's somehow Titan Will Levis is getting brought up.
I think I'm curious to see what Shanahan does with losing Debo this year. I'm wondering who's going to step into that kind of role.
Yeah,
that's going to be interesting.
If you're a fantasy guy, I would really be looking at Ricky Pearsall this year because he's going to, not that he's the same physicality, but he's a great route runner. He knows to get separation, and Shanahan's offense is completely built on separation and getting your guys open. And once they get Ayuk back, I mean, the deep ball to Ayuk was always an option there, especially with everything they work in that flat and that first 10 yards of the field that open up that deep pass. So, and they got some good wide receivers in the draft here this year as well. But Debo obviously a Washington Commander now and won't be with the San Francisco 49ers, but hopefully the old CMC will be back in the saddle. Playing. He's 100% healthy right now, according to him and his camp. So that'll obviously make a big difference getting him back out there because we only had him for a few games last year and obviously made a big difference. And also, all these, I've been dying on this sort, all these other quarterbacks that are successful, Lamar Jackson, he's got weapons. Yeah. Patrick Mahomes is probably the one example that, he's done a lot with a little, but he's got 2 new weapons. I don't know if you guys saw that or not on his wife. Oh, that was going around this weekend. 2 new weapons that Mahomes gets to play with this upcoming season.
Yeah, I was like,
I'm just quoting what I saw out there. Yeah, no, he didn't really get any actual on-course weapons, but you never really know. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I think he needed to be paid. You come in for 2 injured guys and basically bring the team. You don't lose a regular season game in your first however many games. You make it to the NFC Championship. You break your tear your your UCL. You come back the next year, you rehab, and then you take the team to the Super Bowl. So if that's not a good resume in your first, 2.5, so almost 3 years in the NFL, I don't know what is.
What's crazy though is that his salary before, I get it, he was Mr. Irrelevant, but most of your top quarterbacks in college were making more than he was.
More. The backup was making more than he was.
Yeah, it's just crazy how that works. And I don't believe we'll ever see it anymore just with the NIL deals, the way that they are going
you'll
up.
Have guys staying back.
Yeah, they'll stay back and take that money there. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we got to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll be joined by the lead ice technician for the Washington Capitals, our good friend Al Carl.
Weather in the Panhandle never stops. Turn to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast.
Up to the minute weather reports all day long.
A chance of thunderstorms and moderate rain.
In-depth storm coverage.
Winter Storm Enzo.
And breaking weather as it happens.
Hurricane Helene.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
We do have a tropical storm warning.
Rely on it.
Good morning. This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida. For this afternoon and evening, mostly sunny and a high of 82 with wind 8 to 12 miles per hour out of the south-southwest. Partly cloudy skies tonight, a light breeze and warm near 74. Partly sunny and 84 tomorrow. 84 and some sun and very light rain with a gentle breeze Wednesday. Thursday, some sun and a temperature about the same at 87. This is your Monday's weather brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Golf is a game that should be fun, but to have the most fun, you need to play your best. That's where the experts at Golf Plus come in. Their friendly staff will guide you through the buying process, answer all your questions, and can help with any repairs you need along the way. Golf Plus is your custom fitting, club repair, and golf retail shop. Golf Plus staff is non-commissioned and will work with you to find the best product for your game, just like they've been doing since 1988. Golf Plus in Dothan and Panama City Beach. Fitting, repair, retail. That's Golf Plus. CBC Construction is looking for a few good men. At CBC Construction, our greatest strength lies within our talented team. Join us and be a part of a dynamic company that values its people. We offer a tremendous opportunity to create a future for your family and the Florida Panhandle. CBC Construction is now hiring. Call us at 850-740-3815 or visit cbcconstruction.com to learn more. CBC Construction, be part of a winning team.
Now back to the Inside Drive, live and local from the Golf Plus studios. Live from the 19th hole.
I can't believe you're a professional golfer. I think you should be working at the snack bar.
It's the Inside Drive.
The price is wrong.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
We are back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Your home for the Atlanta Braves right here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. But let's talk a little bit about hockey. Although I'd like to be talking about his team still being in there, but sometimes that's just the way the puck bounces, and one team's got to lose the series, one team's got to win the series. It's our good friend Al Carl. He's the lead ice technician for the Washington Capitals. Al, how are you, my friend?
Hey, Ryan, everything's going good for the most part. You know, I said we were supposed to have Game 7 tonight, but that just was not meant to be. But, yeah, that's unfortunate. It's exactly right. It's the way the puck bounces sometimes.
Yep, absolutely. Well, and for one team, the puck seems to not bounce well ever. With the conference finals being set, we did have a big Game 7 last night that fell right into the awful track record for Game 7s in the last 13 years for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Just to kind of dive into that real quick, in the last 13 years, in 2013, they blew a 4-1 lead versus the Bruins in the third period of Game 7. In 2018, they blew a 4-3 lead lead versus the Bruins in the third period of Game 7. In 2019, they blew a 3-2 series lead versus the Bruins, and guess what? Lost in Game 7. In 2021, they blew a 3-1 series lead against the Montreal Canadiens, and guess what? Lost in Game 7. In 2022, they blew a 3-2 series lead versus the Lightning, and again, lost in Game 7. Last year, which wasn't very, which is very on the brain memory right there, they lost to the Bruins in overtime of Game 7, and then last night, it was last night, but they had a 2-0 series lead versus these Florida Panthers, and they lost that yesterday in bad fashion, 6-1 in another Game 7. And for those who care, Drake bet $1 million that the Toronto Maple Leafs would win, and they did not. So that's even better that Drake lost $1 million. But Al, what is it about these Toronto Maple Leafs? It kind of seems like they're the cursed Canadian hockey team.
Yeah, it could be a curse. It could be, I've been joking around the past couple of weeks to call them the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, which is still my favorite.
But, and even the Cowboys themselves, that's pressure. There's pressure from the media. It's pressure from the fans. It's pressure from everybody on all angles. And each team, everybody reacts to it differently. I don't think that was the case this year. This year, right? I mean, they just got beat by a better team. The Florida Panthers, they're the defending Cup champions. They're the two-time defending Eastern Conference champions. And this is a playoff tested team. Like this was not an easy series for the Maple Leafs to have. Yeah, winning your first two games at home, it's a great start, but they just got beat by a better team. I mean, the Florida Panthers are the real deal, and they prove it time and time again.
I guess as the fan, if you're a Maple Leafs fan, you just got to be so much on edge when you get to a Game 7, given that track record in the last 13 years. But, yeah, I mean, Florida Panthers, a fantastic hockey club and looking really, really good. We do have one Canadian team left in the playoffs. Do the other Canadian team fans of like Montreal, Winnipeg, Toronto, do they root for the Canadian team, or is it, pure hatred, or is it kind of segmented out between a few teams?
I think it's divided a little bit, but not by much. So with what happened, just because I remember this from last year with Edmonton being in the final and Edmonton being the sole survivor again this year, I believe it's everybody but Calgary is on board with Edmonton.
Interesting.
So I mean, even then, my thing is like, is it that important? But yeah, like I guess, they got an entire nation in their corner again, minus their arch rivals.
Gotcha. The old Calgary Flames, formerly known as the Atlanta Flames, right? Were they Calgary, then Atlanta, then back to Calgary? I don't remember that one.
But it was Atlanta's. That was their first failed attempt at hockey. The Atlanta Flames. They moved to Calgary.
And then they had to go to Canada to revive it. Makes sense.
Yeah. And then the Thrashers came into existence. That didn't work out. They jumped ship and they got the Jets back. That's what maybe you're thinking of. The Jets went to,
that's right. I used to go to Atlanta games when we lived in South Carolina because Atlanta was only 2.5 hours away, and I'd go to 2 games a year when the Devils were playing the Thrashers. I always thought it was a fun arena, fun atmosphere, but just hockey apparently in Georgia is not as successful as hockey in Florida, as we've got 2 clubs that continue to do very well down here or over there in the peninsula, I should say. Out of the 4 teams left, who do you think is the best team and has the best advantage to win the Stanley Cup?
Well, it's just by proven track record alone, it's got to be the Florida Panthers. I mean, it's just time and time again with them over the past couple years. Like I said, they've been in the final the last 2 years. They won it last year, and I believe I saw a quote. I don't know if it was Matthew. I think it was Matthew Tkachuk. They're built for this. They're built to wear down teams. Whether it might not be in the first game of the series, it might not be in the first minutes of a game, but they will wear you down and they will tire you out. And I think maybe that's what happened last night.
It certainly looked like that.
Yeah, 0-0 going after one. Everyone was okay, and then it just got to a point and the floodgates opened, and that's what happened last night. So. They're just a tested team. They had Brad Marchand back, and he is not a defending Stanley Cup champion, but he's a 2-time champion, I think, with Boston. I think they won it twice, definitely once. But, this is a team is going to be a tough out, and they play a very similar game to Carolina. I got a lot of flashbacks from watching the game last night. what Florida was doing to Toronto was exactly what Carolina was doing to the Capitals. So I'm just like, man, like it's just forecheck, it's just pressure, it's just not giving you a sec to breathe. They're just on top of you, and that's going to be one heck of a series. But to answer your question, it's got to be the Florida Panthers.
I wholeheartly agree there. I was going to pull up Hard Rock. That's our betting service that we can legally use here. We don't have the pleasure of having casinos in our state like a lot of the other states in New England do. Let's see. I'm sure it's the Panthers. I would have to guess that it would be the Panthers.
Yeah, I know they're favored in their series, and I do believe Dallas was favored in their series the last I checked. But that was, that could all change.
Yeah, Florida Panthers plus 230, but those Edmonton Oilers right there on their heels at plus 250, followed by the Stars and the Hurricanes at 300 and 325. So it's really the value has gone down quite a bit if you're looking for a futures on the Stanley Cup. Now you can find some good stuff on the Stanley Cup matchup. The Florida Panthers versus the Edmonton Oilers are plus 220, going all the way to the Hurricanes and the Stars at plus 300. So a lot of opportunities to still make the NHL playoffs matter to you if you're not a big hockey fan, but you do love to bet like we do here on this show. So a lot of opportunities there through Hard Rock to get some money and make it matter when you're watching these games. If you're not just a casual hockey fan and you like having some skin in the game, there's a way you can do it. Best goalie left out there for the four teams remaining, Al?
I'll stay with Freddie Anderson. He's been my answer the last couple weeks, and like I said, I witnessed it firsthand. Freddie Anderson just seems to be a completely different player in the playoffs. Sergei Bobrovsky's right behind him. Like I said, that series is going to be crazy. And then you got Jake Ottinger, one of the best goaltenders in the world. And if you want to just give me 2 seconds here, I need to apologize to Stuart Skinner.
We talked about that last week after we had you on.
Yeah, I believe the entire world owes Stuart Skinner an apology. Everybody talks so much trash about him coming back, and Edmonton's now back behind the 8 ball, and he throws up 2 consecutive shutouts.
Yep.
So shout out to Stuart Skinner. He seems to be motivated. To answer your question, my answer is Freddie Anderson. Freddie Anderson is as mentioned before, just a different animal. It just seems like it's a brick wall, and might have a better chance scoring on that than him right now. But all 4 goalies seem to be on top of their game right now.
Yeah, no doubt. I guess he took that as billboard material and played out of his mind in the next 2 games, not allowing a single goal. But obviously goaltending is massive as we go down the stretch here in the conference final games. And I'm going to throw out there that we're probably going to see some low-scoring games in these 2 particular series. 4 fantastic netminders left in this one that have had a lot of playoff work in the last several years. So, being in the conference finals for a lot of these guys is not something they're unfamiliar with, which typically makes for great playoff series. Now that the Capitals, unfortunately, their season is officially over, what are some of the things you have to do with the rink and everything there at the arena?
Yeah, so actually today is the unfortunate day where we remove the ice from everything. So it's a sad day, and unfortunately 31 teams have to do this process with frowns on their faces, while one team eventually gets to do it, while they're kicking their heels. But
it's a lot easier to do if you're the last team remaining, that's for sure.
Yeah, it goes out a little bit, happier. So, but yeah, today we just we remove the ice. We just make sure everything's cleaned off, dusted, packed away, all nice. Like I said, the one thing with hockey, especially when you get to this point, it is a short turnaround. We only have about 3 months until we're back at it again, trying to put the ice back in. So. You take the ice out, not the most complex of a process. You just turn the refrigeration system off and then push it into a pit, and there's really no secret about this.
Which typically you have to do when you're going from, a concert to ice or ice to basketball, but didn't really seem like, you guys been in competition in the playoffs with the Wizards too much recently. If you guys play in the same, I'm assuming you play in the same arena.
Yeah, the Wizards are here. A tale of 2 teams. In one of the elevators, it was one billboard was buy Capitals playoff tickets. The other billboard was meet the Wizards at basketball camp, summer camp. For your kids. That's
a great tale, like you said, of the 2 different sports teams, but out of the same city. Kind of pivoting off that a little bit, what are the guys doing? What's the team doing? What are they starting to move into now that their season is officially over?
Yeah, well, I guess I think they just take. I think they take some time off. I mean, I don't know this for a fact, so I mean, I don't want to be quoted on this.
No,
but they,
that's my thing.
You know, I'm putting myself. Yeah, what I'm thinking they would probably do is maybe take a week or two just to rest, to heal the body,
absolutely,
get everything back, and then like I said, it is a short turnaround. They have 3 months, 2 months. Till training camp, so they really don't get too much of a break to a point. They maybe do some training in the day, and then maybe you see them on a golf course. That's the whole joke is that your hockey bag in the off season is a golf bag. So,
yes, no doubt.
So they, I'm sure everybody, a lot of guys maybe flies home. If they live overseas, they get to go back to their home country, spend some time there. I'm assuming it's just family time and golf, and then all while training for September for training camp.
Yeah, no doubt. Quick turnaround indeed, and such a physical game. I think, like you said, one of the first things they really got to do is heal their bodies up, because if you go this deep in the playoffs, you are bruised, you are beat up, you're never 100% anywhere near the playoffs when it comes to playing ice hockey. So I'm sure there's a lot of rehab and getting everything right, a lot of ice baths, all that kind of stuff. So hopefully they can you enjoy that time. And like you said, if you're from one of those European countries, you want to go home, you haven't seen your family in probably a year or something like that, unless obviously they live over here in the States. But a good time to kind of wind down, reflect from the season, and get ready from training camp just in a few short months. All right, Al, let's dive into the last two series left out there. I want to get a prediction of the actual score of the particular series. We'll start with the Western Conference Finals. The Oilers at the Stars. I believe the Stars are the home team in this one, right? No, the Stars would be the home team in this one, I believe. Let me double check that. I don't want to be
I would say yes.
Yeah, they're the higher seed. Absolutely, yeah. First two games over there in Dallas. What do you think happens in those first two games in Dallas?
Yeah, the first two games in Dallas, as the road team, you always want to get the split. When you're the home team, you want to make sure that you defend your turf, defend your territory. I got a funny feeling both these series are going to go long, so we'll just call with the split early.
Okay.
Like I said, this series is going to be severely dictated by the play of Stuart Skinner. We've seen, two versions of him. I don't know the status off the top of my head of Calvin Pickard, whether he's available to come back in case something does happen with Stuart Skinner. And he played like he did in the first round. So, this depending on Stuart Skinner, this could be a very quick series or it could be a very long series. But the thing, I guess, whether you have Jake Ottinger or if you have Miro Heiskanen has been a huge help back on the Dallas back line. Dallas has a very good defense. You're still going to have to outscore the Edmonton Oilers. You're going to have to get at least 4 to win each game. So. I guess that's going to be Stuart Skinner dependent right there. Whether or not if he's letting up 5, it's going to be a problem. If he's only letting up 2, which is kind of like the NHL average, I think we can go for a longer series here, and Edmonton can sneak some games in on the road.
Yeah, ESPN has Pickard's estimated return date as May 29th. So, last week here in this month, and could end up, playing a little bit in this series unless, like you said, Skinner's having a great series and keeping the Oilers in it and keeping the Dallas Stars off the scoreboard. So if we go with the split, the first two games, we go to Edmonton for games 3 and 4. I'm thinking probably another split up there, going tied 2-2, heading into the pivotal game 5.
Yeah, it really just all these games. We're at the point is that even last round, you're just at the point with a coin flip. It's really. I think that a split is probably the safest thing to say. Just like it's the easiest thing to say. Well, they'll get one and they'll just get it back the next game. But they could just Dallas could win both at home and then Edmonton can go up north and win both at home there, and we're still at 2-2. It's really. The hockey playoffs, especially at this point. There's a reason why these 4 teams are here, and they were looking for 2 really long series. Yeah, it might go. Both series probably either go 6 or 7.
Yeah, I would hope so. Anyway, if we can get 2 multiple game 7s out of these conference finals, that would be fantastic hockey and a lot of fun to watch. All right, Al, give me your final series prediction here with the Oilers and the Stars, and then we'll jump into the Hurricanes and the Panthers.
Yeah, we'll go Oilers in 7. Let's go that. Let's go Oilers. Let's go Edmonton going down into Dallas for an epic game 7. Connor McDavid shines.
I like it. I like it.
I don't know if you saw the videos of the Edmonton locker room last year after they lost Game 7 to Florida. And I'm sure that is a feeling that is all still fresh in their heads, and that is something that they never want to feel ever again. I can't even imagine what that feeling was, getting so close and then just not being able to achieve your goal. So I believe Edmonton is a very, very motivated team, and that's going to carry them through this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Game 7, it's kind of like that walk-off field goal in football. You know, you're either going to make it or you're going to miss it. You're either going to be heartbroken or you're going to be completely ecstatic. And that's, you know, a lot of these Game 7s go to overtime, too, and it's so tense. It's so exciting. Speaking of a series that may go a long way, what do you think about the Panthers and the Hurricanes? I'm going to do 4-2 for the Oilers in that one. I think McDavid and the rest of the crew, Draisaitl, Hyman, all those guys have a fantastic, because of what you said there with the heartbreak from last season. I think they're going to jump out and try to put Dallas away. So I'm going to go 4-2 Oilers. What do you think about Panthers Hurricanes?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the 4-2 score as well. This one may not go the distance. I know Carolina might sneak in, but I'm going to go with the rematch from last year. Florida's not going to lose. I can't see them losing right now. I think, like I said, these are very, very similar teams. I just think the Florida Panthers are a better version of these teams. So, like I said, these are going to be probably very, very low-scoring games. You have two of the best goaltenders in the league going right now, who haven't been letting up a lot of goals. I know Bobrovsky gets a little sporadic every once in a while, but when it's crunch time, as is last night, he stepped up. So, give me the Panthers in 6. They're just going to out-Hurricane the Hurricanes, or I guess just out-Panther the Hurricanes.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun series to watch. I'm going to go Game 7 in this one and go Game 6 in the other one. So I'm going to do pretty much the opposite you did. I'm still going to go with the Panthers in this one, but I'm going to go with the Panthers in Game 7, 4-3. Because that series is the home team, the Panthers in that one? So
yeah. No. Carolina's
they were a higher seed. Yeah. That's right. So kind of the same.
Well, they're both. Yeah, actually, that's right. Florida was a 3 seed, but yeah, Carolina had over 100 points this year. So yeah, they got the home.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I'm going to say the Panthers are going to do exactly what you said the Edmonton Oilers are doing in that Western Conference. Al, we appreciate you jumping on as always. It's been a lot of fun, but we aren't done yet. We've got the conference finals and then of course the Stanley Cup finals after that. Appreciate you jumping on with us. Hope you have a great rest of your week.
Yeah, Ryan, you do as well, Finn. Hope you get better soon, pal.
Yes.
Thinking of you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Al. Have a wonderful day. Coming up next, our third segment here on the Inside Drive, we're going to dive into the NCAA softball regionals. David Hayes and I made our picks. Paul's got some fun stats as well. You're listening to the Inside Drive. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Coach James Hale Show.
We got a nothing but a winner. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Coach.
Who is this?
Over the years, I've called in and talked to the show a few times.
Good. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I hope you have a good time at the Gulf Coast Jam. Are you looking forward to it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Weekday morning 7 to 9. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Ellis Agency Insurance has been serving Panama City and Bay County for years. They offer a full line of affordable insurance coverage of all types. Many people are attracted to Ellis Agency Insurance because of their friendly, knowledgeable staff. Call independent agent Johnny Ellis for a true comparison of your personal or business insurance. Ellis Agency Insurance at the Old Cullen Insurance location, 1134 Harrison Avenue, across from Dandy Donuts in Delhi. Call 763-1627.
Have you ever met a single person in your life that enjoys paying taxes? No one does. If you can't sleep at night because you have a huge problem with the IRS, I've got some free advice for you. This service is strictly limited to individuals that owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes. And if you qualify, we can guarantee that you won't be writing a big fat check to the IRS, or our services cost you nothing. The first 100 people that call today will get a free tax consultation worth $500. Stop worrying about your IRS problem. We can help you, we promise. Call the tax doctor right now. I mean right now, to learn more.
800-605-4650. 800-605-4650. 800-605-4650. That's 800-605-4650.
Now back to the Inside Drive, live and local from the Gulf Plus studios. Spreads, picks, and parlays. Get the breaking news, insider angles, and expertise so you can run your game.
I told y'all to run that.
And now the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey, ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We're going to dive right into it. Men's baseball always a week or two, just like men's golf is always a week or so after what all transpires on the women's side of things. We've got the conference championships starting out here pretty soon, all getting underway this week for the most part. The Ivy League, though, is already done with Columbia advancing to a regional with their conference championship tournament win. We'll start with the ACC. That gets underway on the 20th and culminates on the 25th. That'll be this Sunday coming up with their championship game. Big 12 starts on the 21st, runs through the 24th. Big South, that was an old conference that I used to pay attention to. We're going to skip that. The Big 10 goes from May 20th to the 25th. And then scrolling down to, let's see, where's another good one? I do want to do the Sun Belt because we have a lot of people that pay attention to Sun Belt schools here. And I believe Coastal, Southern Miss, and Troy are all inside the top 15 right now, and they were the number 1, 2, and 3 seeds going into the Sun Belt Conference Tournament, which follows that same schedule of May 20th through May 24th. And then last but not least, out of the big ones, the SEC, same thing, May 20th through May 25th. All right, David Hayes, we got to go through our picks.
Correctamundo.
And looking at my first side here, there was no correctamundos in the first two games because I picked Texas A&M and Stanford.
Yeah, you took the trees.
Stanford was close.
No cigar, though.
The Ducks, Dave Neat's Ducks got them, though. They quacked all the way, and they've got
Oregon had to win the final two, right?
They did.
Yeah.
They did. That's why I thought Stanford might have got that one done. But, coming out of the College Station Regional for the first time since 2005, the number 1 overall seed has been outed by the Liberty Flames from up there in Virginia. Looks like Texas A&M won the first one. Liberty had not lost. Texas A&M had lost to Liberty in their second game after they drummed St. Francis 18-0. Liberty beat them 8-5, and then Texas A&M beat Liberty 14-11. And then in the final game, the game 7, which is ironic that they call it that, Liberty beat Texas A&M 6-5 to advance to the Super Regionals to take on the Oregon Ducks. Did you have Texas A&M in Oregon?
Yeah, Texas A&M in Oregon.
I already said that I was smoked in this, but
I was kind of hoping that Texas A&M was going to pull that one out. It's always fun to see the upset. Don't get me wrong, and I didn't watch the second game, but I really felt after they were up 6-1, I believe, in the first game. Liberty was, and then Texas A&M stormed back to win 14-11. So. Bracket-wise, I wanted to see Texas A&M continue to move on because then I would have only had 2 losses in the first round. But, it's good for Liberty. We'll see how they have the weakest seed, right, out of all of the remaining seeds, essentially.
The highest seed highest national seed in this at the 16 seed. They really lucked out getting to play a team that's not that. Well, maybe not so because Liberty just beat Texas A&M, so maybe it's not easy. Maybe it would have been easier if they had Texas A&M. I wrote down Oregon and crossed it out and put Stanford. Disappointing in myself.
You're just trying to catch up on some points.
That's right. Now, the next two series, you had the Los Angeles Regional. You had UCLA come out of that one. I think my dad's alma mater, UC Santa Barbara, put up a little bit of a fight, not in the final game as they got beat 12-1, but they did make it to that final game. So kudos to the Gauchos there from Southern California. But UCLA won 3 straight games. They advanced to the regional. They'll be taking on South Carolina out of the Columbia Columbia Regional, I think they had a pretty similar journey. Yeah,
I think both of them just
cruised through their regionals. You had UCLA in South Carolina.
Surely did, sir.
Surely, me as well. Did not get the Cardinals, or at least you didn't get Texas A&M. So that only put me down 1. I thought it was going to be down 2. I don't know why I thought you picked Liberty, but all right. Moving on down to the Tallahassee Regional. Those Auburn Tigers put up a fight, but at the end wasn't enough. In that Game 7, Florida State beat Auburn 4-0 after winning their first game 10-1, their second game 8-0, and then they lost that first game to Auburn 8-3, and Auburn just couldn't get the bats going. I think they left like almost 10 runners on base.
At least 10, because you said 7, then they had bases loaded, and so at the bare minimum they left 3 on. And I want to say they were fighting again in the top of the 6th. That's when I left the house at that point. Right after the Thunder and OKC game yesterday, I went over and spent some time with my mom, so I didn't watch very much softball last night, but at least 10.
Yeah.
Tough way to go out.
That's not, it's just, you're always going to be like, well, we had the opportunities. We were right there. Mm-hmm. We just couldn't get it over the hump. But Florida State advances to another super regional, which they will be hosting against the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Texas Tech, let's see how they got in the Lubbock regional.
They ended up beating Mississippi State.
Cruised right through 6-0, 10-1, 9-6. So no trouble there for the Texas Tech Red Raiders. I actually picked South Florida in that particular one. Didn't pick Auburn.
What, in the FSU bracket?
Yeah, yes.
What? You didn't even pick?
I didn't pick Auburn or Florida State.
So you felt good Friday when we had USF, and you weren't saying nothing about it.
I know.
Yeah, you were just trying to keep quiet. That's what you got.
I didn't want to jinx him. But
karma came in the second game then, brother.
It's it. Texas Tech obviously advanced, so I did have Texas Tech, so I think you're up 2 games on me now.
Yeah, I had FSU and Texas Tech there.
Okay, perfect. So you've only missed 1 thus far. Next, in the Tucson Regional, the national seed of Arizona did not come out of that one. They won their first game 13-5. Ole Miss beat Grand Canyon 7-4. Ole Miss beat Arizona 10-8. And then Arizona beat Ole Miss 10-1. And then Ole Miss in the Game 7 came out of that one with a 7-3 victory to move on. Who'd you have in that one?
I went with the Antelopes of Grand Canyon.
Well, I went with Arizona, so it doesn't matter there. No change. So Ole Miss, another SEC team, making it to a super regional. They will be playing the Cowboys, or let me see.
No, they'll be taking on the Razorbacks. Yes, sir.
No, I picked the Cowboys. I was just letting you know so you can make fun of me.
I'm not making fun of you, brother.
Well, you're laughing, so all right. Arkansas will be taking on Ole Miss. Did Arkansas just cruise right through their regional? They did.
I don't think that they had any issue.
10-0, 6-5, close one there against Oklahoma State, and then beat Oklahoma State 12-0 in that final game.
Yeah, Arkansas is a team to watch out for, especially with Bri Ellis out there. She is a she is a difference maker.
Yes. This is only going to get worse for me on this side. I had too many heart picks on this side. I did.
So I missed 2 on the first side. How many did you miss? Just 3, right?
1, 2, 3, 4.
4, okay.
And the plot thickens.
And it gets worse on this other side?
It does, because I picked Coastal. Well, maybe not in total. I didn't go all the way through yet. Florida cruised right through theirs, not surprising there. They beat Mercer 8-0, then beat Florida Atlantic 14-6.
How about Georgia Tech being the first team eliminated in that one? I believe Mercer beat them in the second game.
Yeah, no, they lost to Florida Atlantic and then lost to Mercer 7-3. And they were out right after lost their first 2 games, and boom, they were gone. But Florida cruised right through as they won theirs 8-0, 14-5, and 8-0 again against those Mercer Bears. But kudos to Mercer for making all the way to that final game. But Florida did come out of that one, and then they'll be taking on the old world's largest cocktail party in the softball world. They'll be down there in Gainesville, not in Jacksonville, for a nice little super regional against the Georgia Bulldogs, who came out of the Durham, North Carolina regional. They had opened with a 6-3 victory over my Chanticleers, the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. Duke opened with Howard 12-0, and then Georgia beat Duke 8-2. Coastal Carolina then went down and played Howard, beat them 9-1, but then had to play Duke, lost to 16-6 in that one, and then Duke beat Georgia 8-1 in that first game, and then in Game 7, Georgia came back and and won that one 5-2. So you've got the Georgia Bulldogs taking on the Florida Gators. Who did you have? You had Florida, I'm assuming.
Florida and Georgia, yeah.
Dang it. So the one that
I've only missed one more. So
well,
So
that's not nice. All right.
I've tried to be very humble back here, brother. You just make it easy for my head. You know, it's
Well,
like
it's
you
my
pump me
picking.
up like a basketball back
That's
here.
true. That's true. I need to take some of that air out.
Yeah.
I got one coming up. I think the only other one you got wrong is maybe one that I
More
got
than
right.
likely.
Yes.
More
All right.
than likely.
Over there in the Anderson, South Carolina area was the Clemson Regional. They kind of cruised right through theirs. They won 10-2 against SC Upstate, and then had a 1-0 victory over Northwestern, and then beat Kentucky 5-1. Real easy for the Clemson Tigers there in that regional. And then the Texas Longhorns, they advanced as well. Probably an easy route for them as well. They beat they beat Eastern. Where is that? Eastern, I can't remember.
Illinois.
Eastern Illinois 10-2. Then they beat Michigan 16-4, and then they closed out UCF 9-0 to advance to their Super Regional, which will be hosted by them as well. And then going down to the next part of the bracket, you had the Tennessee Volunteers hosting the Knoxville Regional. They won 17-0 over Miami of Ohio, 4-2 over Ohio State, and then 5-0 over Ohio State to win their region. They will move on to play the Nebraska Cornhuskers, which I think neither one of us got right. I didn't get UNC right. I picked UNC. See, I went outside of the...
Wait, I took Tennessee.
You did?
Yeah.
No. Well, I picked UNC, so I lost again.
The next one is my error.
Yeah, but it was my error too because I picked that team to hopefully upset. They got close, and that's.
Oh yeah, you're taking Sela.
It seemed like somebody was going to do something fun. It ended up being Liberty and not Sela. Nebraska won their first game 10-2. Next game 14-1, and then they won the final game against Sela 8-0 to move on to play Tennessee in the Super Regional. That'll be played in Knoxville, and then last but not least, you had the Alabama Crimson Tide and the Oklahoma Sooners advance out of their regionals. I picked Virginia Tech. I did get Oklahoma, so I finally got another one right. But Paul, I know you had some little fun facts from the regional events.
Yeah, the one that stuck out the most was that Jordan Bale for Nebraska. I mean, she had an amazing, I'm going to read her stat line real quick. She went 5 for 5 with 4 home runs, 8 runs, 7 RBIs, and they walked her 7 times, but it gets better. So she also was the pitcher, and she picked up both wins, and she struck out 10 on Sunday with the shutout.
Golly, that's like Kaylee Goodpaster over there at North Bay Haven, man. I tell you what, that's impressive. I mean, when you say 5 for 5, 4 home runs, and then 7 times walked right there, so that just shows you how big of a threat that she is. She's got more walks than technical at-bats or statistical at-bats.
Right.
That's great stuff, man.
Yeah, so, I mean, going forward, I would just say just give her the old Barry Bonds treatment throughout the playoffs. We're going to walk you no matter if the bases are loaded. We're just going to go ahead and give up that one run because if she hits a bomb, then we're in trouble for 4. So
No doubt. No doubt. But did you have one more?
No, that was all on her.
I mean,
Yeah.
5 for 5 and getting walks. That's what, 12 at bats? That's wild. I guess when you score a lot of runs, you get around the bats quite a bit. So we got to take a quick break. When we get back, it'll be time to do our Monday edition of the Afternoon Delight Debrief. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida has the most college and local sports anywhere on the Panhandle. Join the Coach Hale Show, mornings from 7 to 9, live from the J. Michaels Studio.
Best seafood, the Coles beer.
High school coverage, the SEC and beyond. It's all right here. Mornings on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Of course, it helps when you're a multi-millionaire.
Good morning. This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida. For this afternoon and evening, mostly sunny and a high of 82 with wind 8 to 12 miles per hour out of the south-southwest. Partly cloudy skies tonight, a light breeze and warm near 74. Partly sunny and 84 tomorrow. 84 and some sun and very light rain with a gentle breeze Wednesday. Thursday, some sun and a temperature about the same at 87. This is your Monday's weather brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
If you spend any time at all in your yard, you're going to encounter fire ants.
We know they can ruin a party. That's why we're this area's experts at fire ant elimination.
As your certified top choice professional, we will rid your yard of these unwanted invaders. Brock Pest is so sure they will get rid of fire ants that they offer a 1-year guarantee.
Enjoy your yard fire ant free. We guarantee it. Give us a call for your free consultation.
Brock Lawn and Pest Control, our family protecting yours since 1968.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota.
And that's out of the ballpark.
ESPN, Northwest Florida.
With over 65 years of combined experience, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to help you take your collection to the next level. They carry all the new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia, and supplies. New and vintage cards in Pokemon. They sell and trade cards and are always looking to buy. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards is open 7 days a week at 752 West 23rd Street, down from Academy Sports. It can always be reached at InstantReplaySportsCards.com.
Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus studios, it's the Inside Drive.
Skyrockets in flight.
And now, the afternoon delight debrief with the three degenerates from the Inside Drive.
Afternoon delight.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Skyrockets in flight. Afternoon delight.
And we are back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. 104.3 here in Panama City Beach, all of Bay County and beyond. 101.9 along the beautiful Forgotten Coast at Port St. Joe, Apalachicola, all those wonderful areas down there. We appreciate the listening and the support here on the Inside Drive. We did get nominated. We made the top 5 nominations for Best of Bay radio personality again this year. Voting starts on the 6th of June. I'm going to be out for a long time in June, so please get out there and vote. I'll remind everybody on my Facebook page as well, but please get out there and vote, because obviously we won it last year. We'd love to win it again this year, but you can't win without the votes of the community and the support, which we very, very, very much appreciate. Of course, you can head over to the Google Play or Apple Store and download our free mobile app. If you like t-shirts, I would highly suggest you do that, because we are giving away t-shirts all the time now, it seems like, on that app. But you can't win a t-shirt unless you got the app downloaded. Google Play, Apple Store, all you got to do is search 1043. And of course, you can listen to us live wherever you have cell phone service. Last but not least, if you want to go to ESPNPC.com, you can listen live there as well. But while you're there, you need to sign up for Scorpion TV. 5,000 streaming channels on demand every day, and then you've got over 10,000 movies. If you're a movie buff, I forget what David Hayes offered. If you can get through all 10,000 of those movies, probably a t-shirt or something.
Probably $25 to not the but that boot store.
No doubt.
We'll spruce it up a little bit, add $10 to Golf Plus and a t-shirt. How about that?
All you got to do is watch 10,000 movies.
And document.
Yes. We want the Spark Notes, the Cliff Notes, whatever it is. You need to let us know about that.
Timestamps.
Yeah.
Beginning, when you started watching the movie, we're very detailed.
Yeah.
But hey, you'll win $35 for 10,000 hours. You will become an expert in watching movies.
Yeah. You'll be able to quote all sorts of stuff. But probably give or take, average movie, hour, 40 minutes, something like that. So, it's only going to take you 18,000 hours or so to watch those movies. Everybody's got that kind of time. If you do, God bless you.
What about the ones that are like 3 hours?
Oh, yeah, you throw in an Avatar or a Titanic or something in there.
They're going to be on there, so.
Yeah. Well, the average, because there's some that are, hour 20, stuff like that.
That's true.
That's short, though. That's very short. But anyway, you can head over to ESPNPC.com, download or sign up for Scorpion TV. You want to get that going before we get to the football season, as every game will be on there. Of course, we want to thank Golf Plus, our studio sponsor. We won't be joined by Alan today, as he is over at some industry show out in Vegas, which, boo, poor him. He's out there in Las Vegas having a lot of fun, hopefully playing some golf as well. But if you want to get a little bit better at that game of golf, you got to get your clubs fit. Get your clubs measured, find out where you are at and where you need to go. And Golf Plus is the best one of the few places you can actually do it for fitting, repair, and retail. And he's not only just got golf stuff there, he's got a lot of cool stuff, shirts, hats, merchandise, college stuff as you get ready looking for those Father's Day gifts, as we just got through Mother's Day, but right around the corner is Father's Day. And for the golfer in your family, Golf Plus can do everything that you need. 2 great locations right here in Panama City Beach in the Edgewater Shopping Plaza, right next to Firefly, and of course up there in Dothan for over 36 years on Montgomery Highway, aka 231. Go check out Golf Plus. We appreciate them being our studio sponsor. All right, here we go. A little afternoon delight debrief. These may have been some stories that you've heard, probably because they're a little bit more national stories right now. We'll start with the manhunt for 7 inmates who escaped the New Orleans jail reaches the 4th day. The city of New Orleans remained on edge for a 4th day on May 19th as the massive manhunt continued for 7 inmates who fled at New Orleans jail by climbing through a hole behind a toilet. Hundreds of federal, state, and local law enforcement officials were pursuing the escapees, who face a wide range of charges from aggravated assault and domestic abuse all the way up to murder. The youngest is 19, the oldest is 42. 3 of the inmates have already been recaptured. It was a tip from the public that led the FBI agents to one of the escaped inmates. The FBI in New Orleans said on a social media post, "We still need your help to locate the other 7 on the run." I believe one of these guys, I think I saw, it's not in this particular article, but went live on Instagram or something like that.
Smart.
And that's how he got caught. So
use technology with GPS tracking to broadcast to the world. Hey guys, I made it.
And I think he said, "I'm out, I'm free," or something like that. So.
Too easy. That's the quote.
Well, that was the quote on the wall.
The wall, yeah. They wrote that. They left them a good old Shawshank Redemption letter back there to let them know what was going on.
Yeah, certainly felt a little bit like that wonderful movie. But the FBI Special Agent Jonathan Trapp says he believes the members of the public were helping the 7 inmates elude authorities. The FBI is now offering $10,000 per inmate for information leading to an arrest. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosive is offering $5,000 per inmate, and Crime Stoppers is also offering another $5,000 per inmate, making that a total of $20,000 if you give information leading to an arrest. Don't forget, too, that if you're helping aid and abet these criminals, you could face some serious jail time as well. The FBI will work together to ensure that the people helping these inmates evade recapture will be held accountable. Trapp said at the news conference, "These inmates are accused of serious crimes, and until they are back in custody, we should all remain vigilant." The inmates, some of who are facing murder charges, escaped from the New Orleans Parish prison around 1 a.m. on May 16th. The men pulled a defective cell door off its tracks and escaped through a hole in the wall behind a toilet sink unit, according to Susan Hudson, the sheriff of New Orleans Parish. Let's see. Kendall Miles, Robert Moody, and Deacon Dennis were back in custody within hours. 3 down, 7 to go, and we are not slowing down. Lock them up, Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry said in a social media post May 16th after they were recaptured. Corey Boyd, Leo Tate, Jermaine Donald, Derek Groves, Lenton Van Buren, Antoine Massey, and Gary Price remain at large.
Wow.
Crazy stuff.
That's a lot of money, though, if you were able to
get all 7.
That'd be $140,000.
Not bad.
Pretty good year for you if you could do that.
It's like Pokemon. Got to find them all.
Yeah. No doubt. I don't know if your camera works the same way with the inmates, but maybe it does. I don't know. But breaking out kind of Alcatraz style a little bit there.
Prison Break.
Yeah, Prison Break.
That's a good show.
Absolutely. Again, another story that people have probably seen, but the Mexican Navy training vessel hits New York's Brooklyn Bridge. Yeah. Some injuries reported. I know 2 people did end up passing away. But the story this is from a few days ago, so they didn't know about that yet. The Mexican Navy ship hit the Brooklyn Bridge on Saturday during a promotional tour in New York City. The top of its 3 masts slamming into the iconic span and partially collapsing as the boat floated in the East River. The New York Fire Department press conference confirmed that authorities responded responded to injuries, but no details about how many people have been hurt or whether they were on the vessel or on the bridge. In the scene captured in multiple eyewitness videos, the mast can be seen snapping and partially collapsing as they crash into the bridge of the deck. Video shows heavy traffic on the span at the time of the collision. I do know, like I said, that was the end of that story, but two people did unfortunately tragically pass away in that incident, and they said something about the boat had lost power and the current of the river was just pulling them down there and ended up hitting the Brooklyn Bridge.
Yeah, because I was thinking at first when I saw it, I was like, did somebody not measure correctly? I mean,
you see a lot of time with overpasses
right.
and that kind of stuff.
But yeah, that makes sense if they lost power and was unable to stop the current.
Don't know what's up with all these ships losing power right next to bridges. You know, I'm not I am, but we'll see. We'll see what all comes out of this. Is that's 2 bridge accidents in the last year? I forget, the one in Maryland or Virginia,
Baltimore, right?
Yeah, the Baltimore Harbor.
Yeah,
that was not more than a year ago, and I'm sure getting pretty close to that. This was a cool one, and I'm going to encourage. One at my next chamber meeting, we'll bring this up and see if we can't make some things happen. So, over in Pensacola. Pensacola angler Andrew Smith says he was getting ready to shark fish with his drone in the area of Fort Pickens Beach Thursday evening when he spotted a teenage girl struggling in a rip current. The harrowing moment was caught on camera by beachgoer Robert Ney. The single red flags were flying on Thursday, making it dangerous for people to enter the water. Smith had a brilliant idea. He grabbed one of the flotation devices scattered across the beach, attached it to his Swell Pro drone, flew it out to the girl, who was growing more and more exhausted by the second. I flew it out there and missed really bad on the first drop, Smith said. A lady grabbed another one for me. I was pretty nervous. We flew it out there and we got it down to her. She was way out there. If I didn't get her with that one, I don't know if she would have made it any longer. Smith says he teared up once the girl made it back safely to shore. The drone has 2 releases on the bottom that can be used for fishing, and you can carry 2 life jackets on it and get to people fast. It has a camera too, so I could see the girl's head in the camera, he explained. Escambia County Public Information Officer Davis Wood says Escambia County Fire Rescue aided in bringing the girl in the rest of the way to the shore. And it's a good thing Smith was there, Wood says. There aren't any lifeguards in that area right now, and there won't be any stationed on Fort Pickens Beach until after Memorial Day. Meanwhile, Smith says drones could be the future of water rescues, and that EMS asked him how his drone worked so they can possibly invest in some of their own. Smith says he has a seizure disorder, which makes it dangerous for him to fish on the water, but he never thought his skills would help him save a life. Smith says he spoke to the girl's father on Friday, who says she is doing very well, and thanked Smith profusely for saving his daughter's life.
Yeah, not all superheroes wear capes.
No doubt. Some of them fly drones.
Great. Yeah.
And why not? I mean, obviously you would need some drone operators for this, but why not? You know, obviously last year was this crazy year for Panama City Beach, a lot of drownings, you know, just tough stuff. A lot of people don't understand the rip currents and that. You know, we've been working really hard on putting the warnings on cars, on buses, in all the condos, all the hotel rooms. There's a lot of information, a lot of money that's been spent to kind of counteract, you know, Panama City Beach being the world's most dangerous beach, which got dubbed that last year because of all the drownings. Why not invest in some of these drones and, you know, maybe train your life? It's not hard to fly a drone. I can tell you that from experience. If you've ever played a first-person shooter video game, you can fly a drone.
Well, that's going to be the problem. I mean, if you have ever, I've tried to play those games before. I actually get made fun of all the time because I'm like trying to walk and I'm looking up and down up and down. So
it's that reverse, yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you can play a first-person shooter game, it's super easy to fly a drone. I need to renew mine, but I've had my certified drone operator license for quite some time, as I used to do a lot of photos for the golf course and stuff like that. But you train your lifeguards if they can fly it. I mean, you can hook it up, fly it out there, drop a flotation device. That makes the water rescue a heck of a lot easier and puts the people that are going out there to help save the person in a lot less danger. So
yeah, I think we just lost someone.
Yeah, we did, a
65-year-old man. Yeah,
I think he went to help somebody, right?
Yeah,
and ended up, you know, that more often than not that you see that happen when somebody goes out there to help. You know, it because when you're dealing with somebody that's drowning and struggling, they can pull you under and kind of compound that situation.
Yeah, and like when you look at it, it, I know the double red flag is always, don't get in the water, don't get in the water. But those single red flags, sometimes they're just as dangerous because living out there on the beach and seeing people struggle, if you're not a great swimmer, there's no reason to be in the water that time.
No doubt. And the thing is here, too, here, it's just such a unique area with the rip currents that we get. I mean, I on the eastern coast, and the waves were a lot bigger, but our rip currents weren't anything like down here. So you don't see water that looks real, aggressive, for lack of a better word. And you don't see the big waves like you do on the west coast or the east coast. You're like, oh, the water's calm, it's fine. But underneath, you don't know what those rip currents are doing because the way we have the different sandbars here in Panama City Beach. So hey, let's look at some drones. Let's invest in some drones, and maybe we can train up the lifeguards that we keep hiring, and I know they're trying to hire more, and make some stuff happen from saving people's lives. So maybe that's a good example of the direction we need to go. But kudos to the quick thinking of him and the other people around him to hook up some life vests and drop them in there. But good stuff. Good stuff. This is a golf one, kind of coming from the golf world. That's not for you to talk about. Shane Lowry fuming with ESPN guy over PGA rules incident. Shane Lowry believes the ESPN reporter got too involved in his rules situation during the second round of the PGA Championship at Quail Hollow following an interview with the Irish Independent. Shane Lowry, who's 38, split the middle of the fairway on the short par 4 8th, but when he got up to his ball, he saw it had settled in a pitch mark. The 2019 Open champion called for a rules official to deliberate the situation. While he was speaking to a rules official, an on-course ESPN reporter was also on the scene. Lowry claims he was informed by the reporter that his ball had fallen into a fellow competitor's pitch mark, but the reporter's involvement in the situation did not sit well with Lowry. The rules official deemed the ball was not embedded and he was not going to be given free relief. A hot-headed Lowry proceeded to chunk his ball 10 yards in front of him. He then reacted angrily by thumping the turf before going on to make a bogey 5. It proved costly in the grand scheme of things too, as Lowry carded a 71 to miss the cut by one shot on 2 over par. Lowry spoke about why he was so frustrated after the round. It was just that ESPN guy was a bit too involved in there when he wasn't asked to be, and that's what annoyed me a lot, Lowry told the Irish Independent. I was just asking the referee, and the ESPN guy comes straight over and he's like, that's not your pitch mark. I'm like, that's not for you to talk about. That's for me to call a rules official and decide what happens. I just said the rules official, what happens to the guy at the 7:10 mark. That's on the ESPN thing. I guarantee you he's not going down there to argue it's his pitch mark. Lowry added, it looked like a fresh pitch mark that I was in, but it also looked like there's a fresh one beside it. So look, I wasn't arguing that it was my pitch mark. I was trying to be 100% sure, because imagine if I had come in and all of a sudden somebody told me that it was your pitch mark, and there's this one guy whose producers tell him it isn't. So you need to just be careful about what you're doing, because there's so much at stake. Lowry last week stormed out of the Philadelphia Cricket Club, declined all interviews with the media after being narrowly denied the Truist Championship by his European Ryder Cup teammate, Sepp Straka. A number of PGA Tour fans ripped into the Irishman after footage emerged of him shunning a little girl during the final round. That was last week. Lowry's tantrum was not only in the second round of the PGA. The Live Golf star and Lowry's European Ryder Cup teammate Tyrrell Hatton also threw one. Hatton admitted it was not his finest moment after the round. Not going to go in the Hatton one, but basically he was cursing and throwing his club and all that stuff. But that's not uncommon for Mr. Tyrrell Hatton. So, the reporters, golf's just such a finicky thing because there's so many rules things that you have to be careful of, because if you make the wrong decision, it could end up costing you even more than what ended up costing Mr. Shane Lowry. So, because if your ball does embed, you are entitled to free relief when it comes to that. But it sounds like he just had a really bad break where he landed and then his ball went into another competitor's pitch mark, which you're actually not allowed to fix your pitch mark. That is against the rules, because it's saying you're improving your lie in the ground. So
pretty rough month for Lowry. He's had some incidents there, and it's pretty easy to blame it on the ESPN guys.
Of course. These guys are always, everybody in sports always looking for a scapegoat, and it sounds like the ESPN reporter kind of put himself right into that situation. So We shall see how Lowry recovers as the U.S. Open right there during Father's Day weekend, and going to be very difficult up there at Oakmont Golf Club. We'll talk a little bit more about the PGA Championship coming up in the next segment. Got a couple more. This is kind of a funny one. 3,076 Smurfs come together to break a world record in France. May 19th, a small town in France succeeded in its third Guinness World Record attempt by hosting a gathering of 3,076 people dressed as Smurfs. The town of Landernau in France's Brittany region had attempted the world record for most people dressed as Smurfs twice before, but fell short of the record of 2,762 people, which was set in Germany back in 2019. The town itself made its third attempt Sunday with official backing from Paramount Pictures ahead of the release of the film Smurfs on July 18th. The Smurfs were created by Belgian cartoonist Pierre Colliford, a.k.a. Peyo, in 1958. They are called Schrumpfs in French. I'm sure I butchered that. But now they have the world record for the most Smurfs in a single gathering.
Were there any pictures with that? I mean, were everybody painted blue?
Yep, they look 100% like Smurfs.
So they probably sold out of blue paint in that area?
I would certainly assume so.
My biggest question would be, is Gargamel, was there somebody there dressed as him just to,
I would hope so. I would hope so. Oh, I already talked about the Kinsera from the cat driving. I talked about that last week. I think so, David. Yeah. The 15-year-old birthday with the cat was driving in the what looks like, the kids get those little battery-powered cars, and the cat was driving in that one. All right. Should we go with the bear one? How much time we got? 2 minutes? All right, I can get one more in. Let me find the best out of these last ones. All right. Oh, here we go. This is a positive Florida one. Manatee strikes up friendship with Florida paddleboarder. A Florida woman's unusual friendship with a manatee that repeatedly approached her paddleboard has gone viral after she's posted the encounters on TikTok. Kendra K, 31, says she goes paddleboarding among the manatees at E.G. Simmons Regional Park every week. Kay posted multiple videos to TikTok showing one manatee, which she named Paddle, visiting her on the water. One video shows Paddle clinging to Kay's board and poking its face out of the water for a look at the human. Kay seems like Paddle recognizes her whenever she's on the water, or perhaps it's just the intimate connection we share through our frequent meetings. Her gentle glaze convinces me that she remembers our bond, Kay told WTVT-TV. Kay includes a disclaimer on each video explaining she does not intentionally approach or touch the manatees, as it is illegal to do so in the state of Florida. I know we got a lot of manatees around here, especially in the rivers. They going through. A lot of paddleboards see those as well, but not allowed to touch them.
Yeah, you can't touch those.
Nope.
Have you ever done that? You ever done the paddleboarding?
You ever touched the manatees?
I have not. For the record, I have not touched the manatees, I've done paddleboarding, but never lucky enough to see a manatee when I was out there.
The paddleboarding thing, it just seems to be, the way better than canoeing.
Canoeing or kayaking.
Because canoeing, you always have to usually be in shallow water, and sometimes there's always that time where it gets real shallow, and then you're outside pushing that heavy iron ship all the way through the river. So, paddleboarding definitely better, but don't touch the manatee skids.
More mobile, and you can head, the current doesn't matter. You can paddle across the current better. You can stand up, you can sit down,
the wind doesn't affect you as much either.
Wind doesn't affect you as much. Paddleboarding over canoe. I'll still canoe or kayak, but if you give me the option of the three, and I'm in the market for a paddleboard right now, so if you got one for sale for cheap, I am cheap and I'm poor, so
let's get a paddleboard donated here to.
We don't gotta do all that. I'm not asking for a handout here, but if you don't use it, hey, let me know.
Put somebody. He wants to use it. If you want to use your paddleboard, drop in and just chill. It's so peaceful, so peaceful. We got to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll talk a little bit about the PGA Championship, and I've got a question for you, fine gentlemen, as well. You're listening to The Inside Drive. We'll be right back.
This Memorial Day, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida honors our local heroes. A Panama City native, United States Air Force Senior Master Sergeant Sherry Lynn Olds served 20 years and died in the 1998 embassy bombing in Nairobi, Africa, while serving her country. thank you for your service and great sacrifice. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your weather forecast on this Monday. Mostly sunny the remainder of the day with a gentle breeze around 10 miles per hour coming out of the south-southwest and temps near 82. Tonight we will have partly cloudy skies. It'll be warm at 74. Partly sunny tomorrow at a high 84. A variety of some sun and very light showers Wednesday with a temp of 84. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Golf is a game that should be fun, but to have the most fun, you need to play your best. That's where the experts at Golf Plus come in. Their friendly staff will guide you through the buying process, answer all your questions, and can help with any repairs you need along the way. Golf Plus is your custom fitting, club repair, and golf retail shop. Golf Plus staff is non-commissioned and will work with you to find the best product for your game, just like they've been doing since 1988. Golf Plus in Dothan and Panama City Beach. Fitting, repair, retail. That's Golf Plus.
Ellis Agency Insurance has been serving Panama City and Bay County for years. They offer a full line of affordable insurance coverage of all types. Many people are attracted to Ellis Agency Insurance because of their friendly, knowledgeable staff. Call independent agent Johnny Ellis for a true comparison of your personal or business insurance. Ellis Agency Insurance at the Old Cullen Insurance location, 1134 Harrison Avenue, across from Dandy Donuts and Deli. Call 763-1627.
Broadcasting from the Golf Plus studios, it's the Inside Drive. This is where heroes are created, legends are born, and dynasties forged. The Sports Talk Master, ESPN Northwest Florida. Now back to Ryan Mulvey and the Inside Drive.
We are back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN at Northwest Florida. Rory McIlroy wins the Players. Rory McIlroy wins the Masters. Scotty Scheffler wins the PGA Championship in dominant fashion. Every time he got or faltered just a little bit, everybody else would falter, and then he'd come right back with some fantastic shot. It's pretty much a two-horse race in my opinion now. Little surprised that Rory McIlroy didn't play as well as he'd probably like to, and a lot of bettors probably like to too, given his success at Quail
Hollow. Dang old driver, right?
It's it. It's the driver. It was not behaving, and he just didn't look that great. But at the same time, you're not going to be able to play week in and week out like that unless, your name seems to be Scotty Scheffler. Who just won not too long ago by 8 strokes and then wins the PGA Championship by 5 strokes. Scotty Scheffler, who's only 28 years old, is now officially in the top 4 of career earnings from the PGA Tour. He's at $81.9 million. Obviously, the purses are a lot higher than they were even 3-4 years ago, and the PGA Tour players can pretty much thank the Live Tour for that, as when all these guys went over there playing, getting these huge signing bonuses, for lack of a better term, and of course the purses they play for are certainly massive. That kind of forced the PGA Tour's hand to create these signature events, to create these big purses where first place is over $3 million. Whereas just a few years ago, if you won first, it was maybe 2.1 at the max. So they've kind of doubled your first prize in some of these events. But Tiger Woods earned $121 million in his playing career. Of course, endorsements and all that. He's well worth over $1 billion now. Second on the list, Rory McIlroy, who's also benefited from these much higher purses. I think he's probably made, because the Players and the Masters, that's like $9 million right there. So obviously keeps pushing that needle up. Third place, Phil Mickelson with $96.7 million, which probably would have been a lot more had a guy named Tiger Woods not been around at the same time he was playing golf. And then Scotty Scheffler in fourth place now with $81.9 million. He keeps going. Yeah. Obviously, he's got a lot more golf in front of him. I think he's going to smash that Tiger Woods record and maybe go way above and beyond that. But just crazy the money these guys are making right now. But do you think, with Rory and Scheffler just kind of being the main two guys in PGA Tour golf right now, you think that's kind of the battle we'll see the rest of this year?
I hope so. I mean, it does well when you have two at the top, and that's what I think we're missing with golf so much. I mean, Scheffler's just dominant. I mean, obviously, so it was a breath of fresh air to see somebody else come in. It wouldn't have mattered who it was going to be, but to have those two guys kind of giving you the Tiger Phil deal, the feel of that a little bit, that makes it a little bit better to me. Yeah. I think it draws, more of the attention to see who's going to show up that week. Or that weekend, rather. So I love it. I love the fact when you have somebody coming in. I mean, obviously, Scheffler being as great as he's been, these last several years here, I mean, that's just, beauty, watching him hit the ball on the green all the time. So, but I love it when another, person comes in and you got your Scheffler people and then you got your McIlroy people.
Yeah, kind of like the Woods and like you're saying, Woods and Mickelson for back in the late 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah, just good for the sport, good for everybody, because you want to kind of pull. It's kind of your Bird and Magic type deal, Peyton and Brady.
So who would Bryson DeChambeau, like in Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, and so that would be Phil and Tiger. In this case, it's Scotty and Rory. Where does Bryson DeChambeau fit into this puzzle? Because it's just 4 tournaments a year, but how does that relate to Tiger and Phil's time, their rivalry? Like, who would be back in that time?
That's a good question. It's a tough one.
Would that be John Daly, maybe? Like,
nah, he just wasn't. He wasn't successful enough playing golf.
Has Bryson DeChambeau? I mean, he has been in the world of YouTube. He has been in the Live Tour.
He's won 2 U.S. Opens.
Is that more than what did John Daly never win any majors?
He won the PGA Championship when he was the 7th alternate, and then he went on to win 1 British Open, is what they called it at the time.
So 2 majors,
but
right?
kind of spread out.
Okay.
Bryson's done it in the last 3 or 4 years,
and he's still got plenty of ceiling left.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, it's a good question. I'd almost throw like a David Duval type in there, even though David Duval is very different than Bryson. It's a tough one to make because you had a lot of other good golfers in that era too, but nobody. Bryson,
Greg Norman?
Yeah, I guess you could throw Greg Norman in there as well. Bryson hasn't choked like Greg Norman has. I mean, that's a well documented thing. I mean, if you watch the sports documentary on that one, it's a tough one to watch if you're kind of feeling what Bryson was going through or what Norman was going through. But it's a good point, and I really think the PGA Tour needs to figure out a way to get Bryson back playing in week after week with these guys because, like you just said, David, we're only getting it 4 times a year, and both the Masters and the PGA Championship now, he was right there in the final round, and he's the guy that more people, I want to say, relate to, but maybe gravitate to because he's the YouTube guy. He's more exciting. He's flashier, and he wears his emotions on his sleeve when he's playing golf. And not that Rory and Scheffler don't, but he's a big personality, and he's wonderful for the game of golf.
Yeah, he's that different guy that kind of brings that different flair, and you need those guys. I mean, because everybody pushed Jordan Spieth for so long, and it just did not work out. It just didn't pan out. I mean,
but his goal is to complete the career Grand Slam. I think he came out and said that last week. Jordan Spieth.
Because all he needs is the PGA.
Yeah.
But
he could get that.
He could. I mean, any of these guys that have been around for a little while, they can have one really fantastic week where everything's working, and that's all it takes. But yeah, Scheffler ended up shooting 71, even par in the final round, but it didn't matter because at that point he was 11 under par and hit some really clutch shots down the stretch on that back 9, where you kind of had this group of easier holes, for lack of a better term, and then the Green Mile, as they call it, 16, 17, and 18 at Quail Hall. It was absolutely brutal, and it ate up a lot of people throughout the week.
Who did it? Who was the one guy? Was it Rahm?
Rahm, he was tied with Scotty at one point, and then went bogey double on, I believe that was, what was that? 16 and 17, which just 2 brutal golf holes.
Yeah, he took big time on that one.
And Bryson was right there too, and then he hit that 9-iron on the par 3 on 17, I believe it was, where he dunked it in the water, and obviously he made a double there and pretty much took himself out of the tournament. But Scheffler 11 under, and then you had a host of 3 gentlemen. Harris English, who kind of came out of nowhere with a nice 65 on the final round on Sunday, got himself a nice little paycheck by doing that. Bryson DeChambeau and Davis Riley all at 6 under par. The Canadian Taylor Pendrith shot a nice 68 in the final round, ended up finishing tied for 5th with Johnny Vegas, who just after he was leading after 36 holes after a brilliant 64 in the first round, he followed it up with a 70 in the second round, but then just the pressure of leading a major championship got him on the weekend shooting 73 and 72 and basically playing himself out of the tournament. Yet another couple guys that made some runs, but scores were just hard to come by Sunday. Yeah. It's a major championship, so the pressure is certainly on, but also in the same factor, it's a very, very long and difficult golf course there at Quail Hollow. Next major championship coming up will be the U.S. Open at Oakmont Country Club up there in Pennsylvania. It's going to be another bear. Oakmont always plays tough. Those greens, they'll burn them out, make them as hard and fast as they can. And the one thing about the rough already right now at Oakmont is it's about 5-6 inches long and really thick and juicy. Yeah. So that's what the USGA typically wants for an Open championship, even though Pinehurst last year, they scored real well all the way down to the final stretch. Question for you guys. I was thinking about this over the weekend with all the professional sports, especially when I was watching the Fever and the Aces. Was it Aces that Reese is on? Sky. Yeah. I don't know them all that well, but talking about the face of all the professional leagues, so I was going to get your thought. NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, NHL, golf, WNBA, and soccer. Who you guys thought that the face of that particularly Mbappe, Ronaldo, who is it?
No, I got you.
I could have said football.
My opinion is not going to be weighted at all on that one. Please don't listen to me. I'm going back to Pele, but no, I'm just kidding.
There you go. I like that.
Let's go.
Ronaldinho. All right, let's start with the NFL. Who do you guys think is the current face of the NFL?
You're gonna make me go first.
I'll go. I have no problem going first.
Go ahead.
Mean, it is Patrick Mahomes. I think that for different fans, they'll have different ideas on that, different opinions, and I think that's the beauty of sports. I don't think that just because I say the face is this or Paul says that doesn't necessarily matter. But for me, the face of the NFL is the best player in the game right now. Best quarterback in the game, anyways. Yeah. I'd have to go with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Mahomes is everybody's Mahomie. I mean, you either love him or hate him, really.
Yeah. Well, and that's good for sports. Yeah. When you have that person that, some people love and then other people hate. And that's where the Tiger Phil thing kind of rolled in. You were either Tiger or Phil. There was no crossover between those two guys. And again, that's what makes people watch and root and all that good stuff. All right, what about the NBA? I think this one's a little bit trickier. Yeah. I'll let whoever wants to go first.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, just for today, I still think Joker. I've got Joker as being the face. I mean, all those categories he led this year. I mean, if you watched the game last night, and I know you're going to get into it tomorrow, but like everybody they just went at him, and that's how you stop them. And I mean, he just... Every time you turned around, he was trying to carry them on their back. And, I mean, you've got to say he's the face, especially with the NBA looking like it is now. I mean, you got 4 teams that none of their stars have really, made it to this point. And so been at that level yet.
I love that answer. I think that for people who like old school basketball, that is the answer. It is. I will say my answer on it is it's faceless right now. It needs a face. It needs a true face.
Yeah.
Of someone who we went from Michael Jordan, we went to LeBron, but LeBron isn't it any longer. He's not the face any longer. And I feel like you have people are trying to put Tatum's stamp on it as being the face. They're trying to put Luka's face on there, and I think Nikola Jokic is he is the face, but I don't think people are willing to. I don't think a large contingency, mainly the young guns who really control the future of the NBA, meaning the fans, the young fans out there. I don't think that they're putting Jokic up there, and so that's why my answer would be faceless. But I agree with you. If I have a picture in my mind of who's the best player in the NBA, bar none, it is Jokic. I think MVP-wise, we're sitting here with Jokic and SGA. SGA might win it, but when you look at the numbers across the board, if you take Jokic off the Nuggets, there's no way that team is they might be a 10th seed playing in the play-in tournament, whereas the Thunder could be a successful team. Are they this successful? Absolutely not with SGA, but they are a playoff team for sure.
Do you guys think that the face of a particular league has to have a certain personality well, or is it just based on your playing ability?
Yeah, it has to be, because that's where I
kind of
now
blur the line with Jokic, because obviously he's one of the best players in the league, but outside of the NBA, what is he doing to promote the game of NBA?
And he doesn't
there you go.
But he doesn't push himself either. So like he's probably, the least of outgoing personalities that you could have in the NBA for sure. Well, that's even like with Patrick Mahomes, because he doesn't. You can tell he doesn't really want to. He's
got
push
all his family members.
Yeah, he's got his brother and his wife, and now you got Taylor involved with all the stuff that they do. So, like, I'm sure those guys are being pushed with their online presence more than they are always, where we just used to justify it just by their performance on the field or on the court, whatever. So, I don't think he can. Like you said, I think the NBA is looking for that face. I think that's why they're so quick to push Anthony Edwards. They're really wanting him.
But he don't want that.
But I don't. I don't believe. I think
sometimes it looks like he wants it.
Yeah, he wants to play and then tell you about it, talk about it. But after that, he's kind of hands off. He's ready to get in the car and go home.
Yeah, you definitely got to have a sort of charisma to be the face of the league, and you have to. I think that you got to want to be the maybe not. It's not about want. It's embracing.
It's a certain character trait too that you're either going to have or not have, and some people love that, and some people don't. They want to pull away from it.
But I mean, we still live in those eras where, man, you still bring up Michael Jordan. I mean, he's been out of the league for so long, and everybody's like, he's the measuring stick. Tom Brady's the measuring stick.
Yeah.
So every time you turn around, it's like, oh, he's good, but he's not good enough. I mean, can we say that LeBron's life has been just a part of being, are you good enough? Can you touch? I mean, it's always kind of, is he good enough type deal.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Interesting thoughts. Let's go to I don't know what you're going to think on this one, but the NHL. Anxious to hear your opinion on this one. I got to imagine it's one of these young bucks nowadays.
Yeah, because it can't be Ovi. He's not the face of the league.
Yeah, he's like the LeBron in the NHL and Sidney Crosby is in that same category as well. They've been around for so long. I think you got to go with a young guy like a Connor McDavid or a Mikko Rantanen, Connor Bedard.
Rantanen is your guy who just had the explosion in the playoffs, but we're also talking about a guy who's been traded twice this year. So I don't think that you can really conclude that someone who's been traded is the face of the league because they're not even the face of their own franchise.
Different markets.
It's got to be Connor McDavid.
I would think so,
and especially with the run that they're having. The wild part about it is here in the South, we don't really. I don't think that. We've learned about the game of hockey. There's a lot of people who've moved down here, huge hockey fans, but I don't think that we. I don't think that we give that sport enough appreciation. I would say Connor McDavid, though, up in the populous places of hockey, has got to be and he's a household name, but he's got to be the face of the game right now. And I think hockey's in a good spot with him being the face.
Yeah, 100%. He's the only one that, besides Crosby and that I've even heard of. Yeah. So, and I'm not a big hockey guy. Yeah. So McDavid to me would be.
That's kind of puts that point in stone there. Absolutely.
There you go.
Absolutely. All right, Major League Baseball. I'm going to let you guys take this one because this isn't Major League Baseball is not really my forte. Obviously, I could throw out some names and that kind of stuff, but
as much as people may not want to hear this, and I think a lot of people, there's two names. It comes down to two names. The hype and everything with Shohei is absolutely legitimate, and he's almost when pitching, which if I'm the Dodgers, I'd never pitch him again. He's so good not pitching and just being a hitter. But he's almost too good to be true. So for me, the face of baseball, and I think Paul would agree with this, it would be Aaron Judge. It would be Aaron Judge just because he's got the full power numbers, but I mean this year, what the average is doing, what he does across the board, he plays defense, and I mean honestly, he looks like he's too daggone big to be playing in the outfield.
He does, he does.
But he still plays it so well and so gracefully. So I think that people would be right in their argument if they say Shohei Ohtani. But I think the correct answer or not even the correct answer, my answer is Aaron Judge.
Yeah, and I believe that's true. I think that when you look at both of them, their body of work is undeniable. Their stats are undeniable. It wasn't like Shohei took the Angels to the World Series and won it.
He got swept by him this last week.
I mean, he went to the front runners, the most money, the bigger market. And that's the thing with Aaron Judge is he's still trying to get there. And I believe that, every year is so different because it seems like these two are always chasing some kind of record or some kind of something that is like legendary. And so it's like, man, is he going to break the record this year? Is he going to be this? Is he going to do that? So I agree with you. I think Aaron Judge is the face. And, I believe, too, I believe he's a little bit like Patrick Mahomes, too. He doesn't really love the spotlight deal, but I think he does enough in his market where he's in New York that he's able to really, be the face and accept it, and he's able to operate still in the face of, it's not too big of a deal to put on his back. He takes that mantra or that mantle and says, I'm gonna carry this team. I'm gonna be, and that's really the reason why they lost last year in the playoffs or in the World Series, was because he didn't produce. And I'm sure that that still probably weighs on him. But when you look at it, those two guys and what they're doing is just phenomenal. And I agree with you on Shohei going out of pitching. The only reason why I would pitch him is if he just tells me he wants to pitch a game or two or
every now and again.
Because I would want to keep the big man happy.
Yeah, I agree with that aspect of it. It wouldn't be a 100% no, but as long as you're content with it, if we could be on the same page that your bat is more important to us than what your arm is, and we'll give you some, we'll give you some play and let you get out there on the bump every now and again. But outside of that, we're paying you for a long time. This about
a lot of money for you to be here. So we want you to swing the bat and swing it like he does. So. But
I like it. That's good discussion and a good answer. Yeah. We're going to hold off on the golf, WNBA, and soccer until we get back into this next segment, because I want to talk about the Clark Reese thing as well. You're listening to the Inside Drive. Final segment coming up next.
This Memorial Day, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida honors our local heroes. From Port St. Joe, Sergeant Clifford Sims, United States Army, made the ultimate sacrifice. While in heavy combat in Vietnam, company leader Sergeant Sims threw himself on top of an enemy explosive device in order to save the soldiers of Company D. Thank you for your service and great sacrifice. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
CBC Construction is looking for a few good men. At CBC Construction, our greatest strength lies within our talented team. Join us and be a part of a dynamic company that values its people. We offer a tremendous opportunity to create a future for your family and the Florida Panhandle. CBC Construction is now hiring. Call us at 850-740-3815 or visit cbcconstruction.com to learn more. CBC Construction. Be part of a winning team.
Want to experience the ultimate car wash? At Tommy's Express, you'll love our open and bright tunnels, easy loading, flat belt conveyor, unlimited membership, and free vacuums and mat washers. Try us for free. Text WASH 415 to 86697 to send our best wash, The Works, directly to your phone. You'll love the Sudsy Clean, ceramic wax, underbody flush, spot-free rinse, and tire gloss. Experience the difference and visit Tommy's Express today. Offer valid to new guests only. By participating, you consent to receive promotional and information text from Tommy's Express. Message and data rates may apply. Message frequency varies.
Northwest Florida Wrestling presents live professional wrestling at the Possum Palace. Saturday, June 7th in Wausau. Exciting men's and women's wrestling with a huge 20-man Royal Rumble. Doors open at 4. Matches start at 5 at the Possum Palace. Front row tickets $15. General admission $12. Kids 5 and under free. All proceeds go to medical expenses for Chase Henson. We'll sell you the whole seat, but you'll only need the edge.
Now back to the Inside Drive, live and local from the Gulf Plus studios. The locals love it.
You're gonna love this. You are my favorite. It's my favorite.
Everybody's favorite. The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey, live on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. South Walton already moving on to the state championship with that 17-2 4-inning whooping of Hernando. Coming up tonight, if you want to go watch those Arnold Marlins play, head on over to Dave and Buster's. Starting at 5:30, game starts at 6. 20% of the food and non-alcoholic sales will be donated to the team account. So not only can you watch them play in the state semifinal game, you can also help the team with the massive amount of expenses that they will incur.
Do they still have that thing at Dave & Buster's? I know they've been showing it on TV where you're the actual claw that goes down.
That's like brand new there. Yep.
They got it there?
Yeah.
My son's been watching it, and he's been like, I want to go there, I want to go there. Yep. I'm like, well, so we might have to go watch the Marlins tonight.
There you go.
So how does that go? Like, you're
the claw. I think they put you in like a harness or something.
They strap you in.
And you grab and hold.
So it's almost like
it's a human claw machine.
Right, but you would win, right? Like if it's
I would hope so.
I hope.
You go in there.
There's something in there you can
hold
grab.
your hands
You
real
drop it while
loose,
you're-
and you come up and you do that just like it does for you.
You drop it while you're falling. It's like, oh, dadgum, here's $100 more. I'll go again.
Yeah, you're talking about letting your children down. If you drop that, I mean, used to being at the carnivals or whatever, if you can't make the shot, you're kind of embarrassed. But if you miss that up, it's pretty tough.
No bueno.
No good.
Oh, fun stuff. But yes, it is there, and it's like brand new there. They've done a lot of things, not to promote them, but, they used to be a sponsor here on ESPN Northwest. We got to get them back. We got
Baby, come back.
Yeah, seriously. I mean,
Buster, come back.
It's a relationship that just makes perfect sense. Speaking of relationships, over there in the WNBA, their season got kicked off on Saturday, and they had a big-time game, the Sky and the Fever, although the final score wasn't anywhere close, with the Fever winning that one 93-58. Caitlin Clark had a triple-double, 20 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, and I believe Dave Portnoy, who's a huge Caitlin Clark.
Big.
Yeah, but I think he bet, what,
$25,000, I believe, to win $350,000.
Yeah, that's
something
right.
like that.
That's right.
And I like the guy, don't get me wrong, but did you see he was dressed as Caitlin Clark?
Yep,
and that looked a little ridiculous. Some people aren't supposed to wear basketball uniforms.
Oh, you're saying his form, his body.
His body.
Not basketball jersey.
Some people aren't just meant to wear that kind of stuff. So.
I guess when you got that kind of money, though, you wear whatever you want, and everybody's like, all right, well, okay.
That is correct. But obviously, one of the big talks from this weekend in that particular game was the foul by Caitlin Clark on Angel Reese, which ended up getting upgraded to a flagrant 1. And I don't know if you guys heard Caitlin after the game. She was like, I shouldn't have fouled her because she was going to miss it twice anyway. And she was kind of throwing some shade at the press conference. But yeah, I mean,
was that AI that you heard? I did not hear that.
It could have been. I have no idea what's not AI.
What I heard her say was it was a basketball play.
Yeah.
She got the ball. She had a really good answer for it. And then Aaliyah Boston was like, I can't believe they called that a technical on me outside of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't hear her say
it's probably
she was
AI.
miss it.
I was hoping it wasn't, because it was been
it's a
been
good
cool
soundbite.
by Caitlin Clark or getting back in there. But obviously, when you have the hero and the villain, it's certainly good for sports. But kind of getting back with the theme that we were talking about, Caitlin Clark, obviously the face of the WNBA, and has brought so many eyes, so much money in the WNBA. And then you got this kind of villain situation with Angel Reese, who, had an okay game. She had 12 points, but she had 17 rebounds, as she should have. And she's a big presence underneath the glass there. But you would say Caitlin Clark is the face of the WNBA. No question about that.
Yeah.
You can't even argue that.
Well, I think that really, to be quite frank with you, it's a demographic thing that has to do with that. Because I think the best player in the league right now is still for the Las Vegas A's.
A'ja Wilson.
A'ja.
Yeah.
She's the best. But I would say that the attention that Caitlin Clark, she deserves it. I'm not disputing that at all. But the attention that she's garnered, earned throughout college, she is the face of the WNBA.
Yeah.
When you look at it, though, because this is going to be really hard to describe, and hopefully I can describe it in the right way.
I think you're going to do great.
It's hard to go from the male NBA game of dunking on each other to really get pumped up and excited, because you're talking about Wilson. She's a dominant force. She doesn't shoot a lot, but she bangs in the paint. So to watch a lot of people shoot layups, it's a really hard thing. But then when you bring on this phenomenon, which is Caitlin Clark, and she's shooting from 35 and 38 and shooting from, way deep, and not just shooting deep, but like having NBA moves as she's doing the step backs and things like that. I mean, she's really opening the eyes of more sports fans that used to didn't get excited about women shooting layups. I mean, now if you want to bring that goal down and put it at about 8 feet, 7 feet, and let them just try to dunk on each other and have a good time, I think your viewing area would go up a lot more.
I agree with that. But hey, let's go a little more carnival style, right? Have a 10-foot for shooting only, and then have an 8-foot for anything within the paint. If you're doing a layup, it won't count at the 10-foot. Like, I don't know how you would stagger the goals.
Yeah,
if you
it'd be
would step them a little bit. But
what if they go through both?
I was about to say, then you get 5 points.
I like
if you shoot from the 3 and the ball goes into both hoops, then you get 5 points. A 5-pointer.
Ooh,
we
revolutionizing the game of women's basketball.
And I mean, when you think about it, though, and this is the part that I didn't want. I don't want any haters out there to say anything about it.
You're just theorizing.
But I'm just saying that. Because, one thing that they do very well is they run plays, though.
Yes.
And so, you have fundamental basketball. You're going to have back picks. You're going to have, breaks to the basket.
A lot of movement.
The ball's going to the ball's going to move. Everybody's going to have their job, and they know what they're doing with the plays, and that misses out on the, the more of the Rucker Park style of basketball that we see in the NBA nowadays.
Yep.
But, I think, with women's basketball, she has to be the face because of what she brings to the table and what she's doing for the sport herself on her own.
Yeah,
like she's doing it on her own.
It goes back to what we were saying of the people are the fans are the ones who make the face of the franchise, or not the face of the league, of the league, and that's exactly why Caitlin Clark is. And like you said, shooting is more exciting than what banging in the paint is.
Yeah,
no doubt about that.
The best thing that Angel Reese could have ever done for her career, you have to agree, is showing the forefinger at LSU.
Yeah.
I mean, that just started it. That initiated it. That's where it's all started from.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's carried on to the NBA or the WNBA, and they have definitely, she's made her money because of that, being the villain. And I mean, if I was her, I would live right on that train all day long.
And kind of piggybacking off that, I don't know if you guys saw RG3's comment. He said, after watching Caitlin Clark's flagrant foul on Angel Reese and the aftermath, there is no way Angel Reese can continue to lie that she doesn't dislike Caitlin Clark. I know what hatred looks like. Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark. Not some basketball rivalry hate either. Hate. Kind of plays into what you were saying, right? With, embrace. Stop pretending, I don't hate her. Just say you hate her. It's fine. No one cares.
Okay. Yeah.
Go ahead,
for soundbite wise, that would be great, but I'm content with her saying all the right things and then doing the right things on the court, meaning amp it up on the court. Keep it that way. That's fine. Don't let people.
That's where it belongs, too.
Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly where that rivalry belongs, is on the court. We can have fun with it off the court. Y'all can, go back and forth with the sound bites, all that good stuff. But I would like if she just keeps her mouth shut about it and lets everyone kind of build the narrative how they want it to be built, and then they just keep on after each other on the court. I like it.
I think that'd be a great business decision to just keep that going, hold it up, and let it be 80s style Pistons, bad boys versus Celtics and Magic. So that's the way I feel about that.
And they asked, do you hate Caitlin Clark? Find out tonight when you watch the game.
That's right. If she's coming to the paint, she's not shooting a 3, she's going to shoot a layup, she might pay for it. I don't know.
We'll see. Is the bank open tonight or not? We'll find out.
We'll see.
Yep. Well, and it'll push ticket prices. It'll push all that stuff. And, the WNBA is actually extremely lucky to have this going on right now. I do want to talk this real quick before we have to go. The NCAA National Championship in women's golf is through 3 rounds, with the final round coming up today. We've already had the cut down to the top 15 teams. As we talked to Coach Amy Bond last week, Florida State currently sitting in the 5th spot. They tee off a little bit later on today. The next cut is those coveted top 8 spots, as those top 8 spots will move on to the match play portion of the national championship. Right now, they got to play some good golf, though, because South Carolina's holding in at that 8th spot at +8. Florida State currently +3. Everybody trailing the number 1 ranked Stanford Cardinal at -23 under par. They shot an minus 18 yesterday as a team. But currently Florida State sitting at 5th. If they can just have a decent round today, they should be moving on, hopefully, to that match play. I certainly don't want to jinx Coach Bond, Lottie Wode, Mirabel Ting, and the rest of the Florida State Seminoles. They will tee off at 1:45 our time to hopefully secure their spot for another national championship run. Texas, South Carolina is currently in 8th, Texas in 7th, Arkansas in 5th, Florida State tied with Arkansas, and then Southern Cal, Oregon, Northwestern, and the number 1 ranked Stanford Cardinal leading the NCAA National Championship right now. It also culminates the individual national championship as well. Currently, Mirabel Ting is 3 strokes back of Arkansas's Maria Jose Marin, who is at 9 under par. A lot of golf left to go. Mirabel Ting, Lottie Wode a little bit further back at 2 under par, but Mirabel could put a push in there to win the individual NCAA National Championship. We'll keep you posted on that tomorrow and as we continue on through the particular tournament. Don't forget, head over on to Dave & Buster's this evening to support those Arnold Marlins as they play in the state semifinal game coming up at 6 p.m. here in the Central Time Zone. We appreciate you guys hanging out here with us on the Inside Drive. Paul, appreciate you jumping in with us. Yankees playing tonight?
They are not. They're off tonight. Okay. They'll be traveling this week. I can't remember who they're playing, but I forgot. So.
I apologize. The Atlanta Braves, are they off tonight, David?
Yeah, they got the Nationals tomorrow night.
Okay, yeah, because they had a run of a lot of games in a row there, but hey, they're over 500. I think one game over 500, 24 and 23.
Better than below, though, right?
Yeah, finally broke that bubble at the expense of the Boston Red Sox, taking 2 out of 3 in that one. Again, we appreciate you tuning into the Inside Drive. Don't forget, Best of 8 voting starts June 2nd. Afternoon Underdogs coming up at 4. We will see y'all tomorrow. Roll Tide.
The PCB Hobby Takeover with Todd. Mondays at 5:20 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
That is a very high-end card and very rare.
Todd talks about coins, trading cards, collectibles, and the amazing stories behind them.
It was the first one that's ever come through my door.
Plus,